Greetings, movie lovers, and welcome to another episode of Movie Madness, your number one source for movies and more. I'm your host, Matthew Karsick from Karsick Films.
And I'm Mac Farmer from Tender Portal.
We have a big show for you guys, so let's jump right into it. But before we do, a little disclaimer. If I sound a little stupid, it's because I've got a bug. I'm under the weather. But I feel like the show must go on. So if anything happens, like if I were to throw up or anything, we'll just cut that out. I promise. But let's get right into movie news. We have a lot of movie news. First off, I wanted to share this with you guys. This is actually kind of sweet. We all know Chris Pratt as Star-Lord in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and Chris Evans plays Captain America in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. What I found out is that they had sort of like a Twitter Super Bowl bet going on. Chris Pratt is a Seahawks fan, and Chris Evans is a Patriots fan, and I guess they made a bet saying if that the Seahawks won, that Chris Evans would have to go to Seattle to a children's hospital dressed as Captain America, and if the Patriots won, Chris Pratt would have to go to Boston, to a Boston Children's Center dressed as Star-Lord. And as we all know, the Pats won, and Chris Pratt went on Twitter and he says, a bet's a bet, a deal's a deal. I will be going to Boston dressed as Star-Lord. And Chris Evans, man, he came back with, you're a really good sport. Don't worry, I'm going to Seattle as Captain America. How cool is that?
That was really awesome. I saw the pictures on Twitter. That's a really cool thing to do. I like that bet a lot.
Like, these guys, it's so funny because these guys have money. They don't have to do this. But, like, I love the fact that they get so involved with the kids. Like, I saw something not too long ago where Chris Evans went and visited a boy who had cancer or some sort of illness and just hung out with him. And it was just so great that, because these kids see these actors as their favorite superheroes, and for them to come and, like, chill with them and stuff, it's so nice. But yeah, that's what I think. And that's really great. Alright, going into some movie news. Writer of XMen Days of Future Past, Simon Kinberg, says Rose Byrne is to return as McTaggart in X-Men Apocalypse. Let me bring up... He said in an interview... Let me pull it up. He said, quote, "She's a significant character in the movie. We ended First Class with Charles having wiped portions of her memory of her experience with the X-Men. They are essentially strangers to her when she meets them. It is certainly a rich relationship that we started to dig into in First Class and would like to mine more into this one." Matt, what do you think about Kinberg's comments?
Yeah, it's definitely going to be interesting to see how our character's going to kind of tie into the series again. I mean, like you said, her memory was wiped, so her meeting the cast again, kind of like her going through the whole experience again, meeting the X-Men for the first time in her mind. So I also think it's going to be great because she's a really great actress. So seeing her in the movie again, or in the X-Men movies, it's going to be really great. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think Rose Byrne is a fantastic actress. Like, I love anything she does. Like, people who know me know I wasn't too fond of Neighbors, but she was one of my favorite parts about Neighbors. Like, any role that she's in, she really brings a sort of a lightness to it, and kind of like, she can, definitely, take control of the room. Yeah, I think it's going to be interesting to see how she comes back into this mix, especially after her memory not her entire memory, like most of her memory, like at least her memory of the X-Men being wiped. And that's what I think. All right. In the same interview, Kittenberg also suggests that there could be, if you have a hat, hang on to it, an X-Men Fantastic Four crossover. He said this in the very same interview, and he said, quote, "The reboot of Fan 4 really needed to work in and of itself. We were doing something pretty radical with the tone of the movie. If we wanted to find a way to connect them to the X-Men, we could. There's a lot of precedence from the comics." Matt, what do you think of there being an X-Men Fantastic Four crossover?
I think that'd be great. I'd really love to see a crossover between the two franchises. I mean, obviously, we're not going to see an Avengers crossover because, 20th Century Fox copyright issues, but, at least just, a small crossover between Fantastic Four and X-Men would be pretty cool. And, yeah, I think it'll definitely work, especially with the fact that they're rebooting Fantastic Four. What do you think?
I think that if we did see an X-Men Fan 4 crossover, it would be very much Avengers style. Like, it would have their standalone movies like X-Men and then Fantastic Four, and then they would have like a getting together movie, and then they'd go to standalone movies again. That's what I think would happen. But it's difficult because everybody wants to see like the X-Men, Fantastic Four, Spider-Man all come into the Marvel Cinematic Universe with the Avengers, which isn't really going to happen in the near future. But I guess to cross them over while you can with what you have, it could be cool. We just have to... I feel like he's jumping the gun a bit, because we don't even know if Fantastic Four is going to be good. So, we'll just have to wait to see.
Yeah, time will tell.
Alright. Marvel and Fathead, a company that makes large wall decals, released several new Avengers 2 promo pics. I don't know if you saw these, Matt, but these promo pics are very comic book looking. It's got like a lot of it is the Hulk Buster armor and fighting the Hulk. It's very like it's kind of like a wrestling posters. Like at the top of it says the Green against the Machine, Hulk versus Hulk Buster. Ringside is where it's at. Stuff like that. Matt, what do you think about these new photos?
I think it's interesting. I haven't gotten a chance to look at them, but I definitely like to get a chance to look at them, especially the Hulk Buster armor. That sounds really good.
Yeah, they look really cool, and these are large wall decals, so to have that in your room, that'd be pretty crazy. I would love to have something like that in my room.
Yeah, get some frames.
Yeah. Next bit of movie news. Charlie Hunnam is reportedly signed on to star in The Lost City of Z. He plays an old English explorer who gets lost somewhere in the Amazon, I think it is, searching for a city that he could have swore he found on another expedition. Matt, what do you think about Charlie Hunnam signing on to The Lost City of Z?
I think it's a really cool idea. I did read the synopsis, and it does sound pretty interesting. I don't know if it's going to have like kind of an Atlantis feel to it, or I don't know what kind of city this is going to be. If it's just like a deserted city that's been abandoned for who knows how long. But if it's like an Amazon adventure, yeah, it definitely sounds really cool. What are your thoughts on it?
I really don't know. It's the first time I heard about the Lost City of Z. The premise sounds interesting, but one of the things that I learned that really stood out to me was Benedict Cumberbatch was originally up for the role, but I guess since he's going to be Doctor Strange, they got Charlie Hunnam instead, which, it's, around English people. And as much of a Sons of Anarchy fan as I am, I really can't see Charlie Hunnam just being all, proper English. I don't know.
I guess we'll have to see. I'm sure.
Yeah. I'm sure once the trailer comes out,
we'll get a better understanding.
We'll get a better understanding, and I'll probably, once we get that first trailer, I'll probably be like, okay, this is either going to be really good or really bad. Next bit of movie news. It has been reported that Felicity Jones has been signed on to star in your favorite topic, Matt, to star in a Star Wars spin-off directed by Godzilla director Gareth Edwards and with About a Boy writer Chris Weitz penning the screenplay. There is no news on who she is playing or what the storyline is, but, she's been signed on. Matt, what do you think?
I think it's a really great casting role, and I'm really excited to see what role she's going to be playing. My guess is either it's going to be like a Han Solo movie, I don't know, maybe a relative, or it could even be a Leia movie, a Princess Leia movie, when she was in her early teenage years. But like I said, time will tell, and when we find out what the story might be, and if we see maybe some screenshots or even a trailer, we'll definitely know what's. Sorry, I can't talk today. We'll definitely know what the story is going to be about, and I'm really, really excited about the casting. And I think Gareth Edwards is a really great director, and I'm sure he's going to do a great job with the spin-off movie. What are your thoughts?
Well, I've heard a lot of people, not anybody I know, but there's a talk going around that it could be a Mandalorian movie, that she could be playing a Mandalorian, and maybe even a bounty hunter movie about, stealing the plans to the Death Star, kind of stuff like that. But I don't know. I think she's a great actress, and I liked Godzilla. But the thing about Godzilla is that, and a lot of people say this, all the action was towards the end. Which is just... I look at it as they had to, build up the story between the characters, and they kind of teased us with it. They pulled a Jaws. You didn't really see the monster until the very last act. But I don't think that this Star Wars spin-off will allow Gareth Edwards to do that. I think it's going to have to be action all the way through. And I never saw About a Boy, so I have no thoughts. I'm very neutral on Chris Weitz planning the screenplay. But, yeah, I think it's going to be great. I mean, it's Star Wars. So, that's that. Next bit of news. Deadline is reporting that talks of a live-action Robotech movie is being resurrected at Warner Brothers. Robotech was a popular Japanese anime about transforming fighter jet robots and was adapted for U.S. audience in the adapted for U.S. audience in the 1980s. Michael Gordon, maker of 300 and G.I. Joe Rise of Cobra, is reportedly penning the script. Matt, what do you think about Robotech? A live-action Robotech, mind you.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be interesting. I've seen a few episodes of the Robotech anime series, and I did like it a lot. I don't know where they're going to go in the direction of a live-action movie, but when they start casting a movie, when they start using the cast and start filming the movie and show some screenshots, we'll definitely get a better understanding of what the movie's going to be like. Because if they do a good job, that'll be fantastic. I'm all for a live-action Robotech movie. What about you, Matt?
I'm on the fence. Because, my mind keeps teeter-tottering. It's like, on the one hand, this could feel too much like Transformers, but it's not Michael Bay directing. It's Michael Gordon, who did 300 and G.I. Joe, which I like. But because it's not Michael Bay, is it not going to be as good as Transformers? Is it going to look worse? I don't know. I'm very on the fence. I haven't seen Robotech personally. I like the premise. But I'm on the fence. Like, once I see a trailer, and once I see something real, something solid, I'll definitely have my answer. Next bit of news. Lionsgate has announced 2 new updates for its Hunger Games franchise. The first one confirming that the final chapter of The Hunger Games Mockingjay Part 2, will release on November 20th. The second bit of news is the studio has also announced the Hunger Games exhibition will open in Times Square in New York on July 1st through January 3rd, 2016. The exhibition will be a series of interactive elements, galleries, costumes, props, and more to connect guests to a one-of-a-kind experience. Matt, what do you think about the Hunger Games exhibition?
I think it would be kind of cool to go in a place where you can actually experience kind of the Hunger Games, not the actual Hunger Games, but kind of go in that world, kind of like in a Disney World kind of feel. But also to kind of add to that, I also read on yesterday on the IMAX Facebook page that the last Hunger Games is also going to be released in IMAX 3D, so that probably means Millbury is probably going to get it in 3D and X Plus.
Yeah.
So if anybody likes 3D out there, then there you go. You can see it in 3D, the final one. But yeah, definitely.
I mean, as far as I know, all the Hunger Games have been well, not all of them, because we've only had Hunger Games for we've only had the X Plus for 2 years, a little over 1 year. I know the last Hunger Games was an X Plus, but it wasn't 3D. But yeah, to see it in 3D, I think it'll add a certain element.
Yeah.
But in terms of the exhibition, I'm stoked. Like, when I finally get my first car, which is hopefully this year, I'm totally driving to New York and checking out this exhibition.
Just don't get lost.
Oh, God.
That'll be fun, though. I don't know if it'll be like... No, I'll definitely have to see some pictures of the exhibition. I mean, is it going to be like a maze kind of thing, or is it going to be like a woods? So it's interesting.
Yeah, it is interesting. I don't know if it's going to be like a walkthrough, or, you have to sit down or something. But it would definitely be interesting to see all the props that they used and see the costumes and all that good stuff. And I'm really excited about it. Like, even if I don't have a car by then, I'm gonna make somebody drive me. I might make you drive me. You're like, Matt, we're going to New York. All right.
I'm not working.
Yeah. Alright, following the new trailer, a new Furious 7 poster has been released. This poster pays tribute to the late Paul Walker and bears the subtitle One Last Ride. Furious 7 will hit theaters on April 3rd. Matt, have you seen this poster?
Yes, I have.
I think it's a really nice poster. A great tribute to Paul Walker. It's just so nice, and in the title One Last Ride, it kind of, gives you, chills a little bit.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to see that movie opening day.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. And it's definitely going to make me cry, just because of Paul Walker. Like, because they're going to have one of those...
In memory.
Yeah, in memory things in the credits, like they did with Night at the Museum. Every time I see that Night at the Museum in memory of, I cry.
I'm sure they'll do something special for that.
Yeah.
Passenger 7.
But I think it's a really nice poster. And a lot of people say that they prefer Vin Diesel not be in it, but you gotta kind of look at it like these guys have been doing this for a very long time, so to them, they're family. Like, he even says in one of the trailers, like, I don't have friends, I have family. So to them, it's like losing a brother, which is rough. Alright, our last piece of movie news, sticking with the topic of new posters, The new poster for Mr. Holmes, starring Sir Ian McKellen, has been released. Directed by Bill Condon and set in 1947, Ian McKellen will play an aging Sherlock Holmes who, while searching for a rare plant with powerful restorative qualities, has witnessed the devastation of nuclear warfare. He searches for answers before it's too late by reopening the very case that forced him into retirement. Matt, what do you think about this premise?
I think it's very interesting, especially the fact that we're getting an older Sherlock Holmes. I don't think we ever had that before. So to kind of put a story like that into an older Sherlock Holmes will definitely give a new twist to the whole series, and I'm really excited to see that. What are your thoughts on it?
The premise is very interesting, and I'm a huge fan of Sir Ian McKellen. With that said, I feel like we don't need another Sherlock Holmes thing, because you have the Robert Downey Jr. Sherlock Holmes, which in retrospect isn't that dated. And then you have Elementary, which is on TV right now. And then you have my personal favorite, BBC's Sherlock, with Benedict Cumberbatch and Martin Freeman. And I know Sherlock has been around forever, but I feel like, especially with the TV shows out right now, we don't need another Sherlock coming into our lives. With that said, I think it'll be interesting. The premise is definitely very interesting. I don't know. I'm very 50-50 about it.
On the bright side, if you think about it, we have two Sherlock Holmes in the Marvel Universe now. We have Benedict Cumberbatch and Robert Downey Jr., two Sherlocks in the same Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Oh, yeah. I didn't think about that.
Sherlock Holmes against Sherlock Holmes.
Alright, that's it for movie news. Now we're going on to our next segment called Random Topic. This is how this works. Matt has a random topic for us today. He's going to throw it down and we're going to pick it up and discuss it. Matt, what is the random topic for today?
Okay, given all the snow we have in New England, do you think more people either stay away from the movies or go to the movies, since there's not a lot to do either in the mall or walk around, so they kind of just sit in a theater and watch more movies? Do you think that's the case, or do you think people just like to stay at home and watch movies?
Stay home. That way I don't get called in. Yeah, definitely. Like, we've gotten so much snow, and we're getting more snow. This is ridiculous. Definitely just stay at home. Like, nobody wants to go out in the snow. Like, if you're a kid, go out and play in the snow. But, like, parents, just stay home. Light up your fireplace. Have a hot chocolate. That's what Netflix is for, okay? If even if it's like one day, like the day it's actually snowing and then it's gonna be fine tomorrow, go tomorrow. Don't risk it. The movie is still gonna be there, okay? It's not gonna go anywhere. Unless you wait, unless it's like a movie that's leaving the theater that you waited forever to go see, then that's your own fault, okay? But yeah, stay home, hot chocolate, fireplace, Netflix, blanket, cuddle up, good stuff.
Yeah, it's funny because I saw a SpongeBob movie yesterday and it was snowing, so we were kind of on the fence, are we going to go or not? But we ended up going because it wasn't snowing at the time. Then we got to the theater, we said, oh, it's not going to be that packed because of the snow, and it was packed. It was Saturday night. We got to the theater, we got to the screen like a half an hour early. We were sitting in our seats and it was almost packed already. So we're just sitting there, and there's a bunch of kids everywhere and their parents, and just, we went to Screen 8, so it was like the 500-seat theater.
Yeah.
And it was packed.
Yeah. That's what I think. Stay home.
Yeah.
Alright, next segment is Trailer Breakdown. How this works is that we have two trailers for you today, and we're going to break them down for you. The first trailer is Paul Blart Mall Cop 2. I am really excited for this trailer. Basically what it is, it's like, 6 years later from the first Paul Blart? Something like that?
Yeah.
And he's going on vacation with his daughter, and while he's on vacation, he's I guess this group of criminals are trying to take over the hotel, and he gets back in his uniform, and now he has a posse of security guards. That's gonna be fun. Matt, take it. You can take it.
Sure. I've only seen snippets of the first film, and I liked it a lot. I think Cameron Diaz is really funny, and so I'm gonna have to rewatch the whole movie from start to finish. But I'm definitely on board for the sequel. Like, it looks really funny, seeing this character kind of wanting to relax, but in his mind he can never relax. He's always on alert, even though his family's saying, "Oh, we're on vacation, just kind of take it easy." But of course, something happens, so he has to step in and save the day, pretty much. So yeah, I'm really excited to see it.
I love the first Paul Blart, and I'm really excited for this one. I really hope they have the return of that Indian guy that I don't, because you only saw snippets. I don't know. You may have seen the trailer, but he's like peanut blart and jelly. What's up, man?
Yellow. Peanut blart and jelly. What's up, man? So good to hear your voice.
I loved that guy, and I hope we see the epic return of him. If not, that's okay. I think it's still going to be great. The next trailer we have for you is the second Minions trailer. I really enjoyed this trailer because now we get a little more of the story. And actually, I wasn't really expecting this story. I guess the Minions are going to VillaCon, which is a convention for villains. Kind of like how we have Comic-Con. And they're looking to get hired by a villain. And they run into Overkill. I can't remember her first name. But, a villain called Overkill, played by Sandra Bullock. And she takes the Minions in, and it's so funny to see. The thing that I love about this movie is that this is a movie where the main characters don't speak English and there's no subtitles for them, but at the same time you can completely understand what they're saying by the tone of their voice, their body language, their eyes. I think it's going to be a really fun movie. Matt, what do you think?
Yeah, definitely. It's really funny. I think also agreeing with what you said about they don't have really any dialogue. I mean, they say banana all the time.
Yeah, there's a few words that they say that are English, like they say their names. They say banana. That was one of the funniest things. Is like banana.
Respect. Power. Banana. Banana.
I wasn't expecting Sandra Bullock to be in it, and it says Sandra Bullock as the villain. And I'm like, oh, really? That's interesting. And then they kind of, I like the scene in the trailer where she kind of gives the backstory about once upon a time, we hired little kids, and one of them screwed something up, and I got rid of them. And you see like a bathtub and a tank fall on top of them, and the other two are terrified. And one of the minions is fast asleep.
Yeah. It's definitely going to be a great movie. I'm going to go see that opening night.
Oh, definitely.
I want to talk in Minion language for the rest of the day now. It's just that infective. Alright, now we've come to our segment called Viewed and Reviewed. We have two movies to review today. Both Matt and I saw the SpongeBob movie, Sponge Out of Water. He saw it yesterday. I saw it on Thursday when it, the first showing, so, Matt, why don't you go first? What did you think of the SpongeBob movie?
This is a very strange movie, but I liked it. It had really good adult humor in it, hidden adult humor that kids wouldn't understand. There's a lot of good comedy written segments. It's crazy. I think the first third, you're probably gonna think to yourself, "What the heck am I watching?" But as the movie progresses, it gets very good, and this is like one of probably the best comedies that I've seen this year. Well, I've only seen a few comedies this year, but this one is very good. I liked it a lot. I was very impressed with what they did with this new SpongeBob movie. As I'm sure many of you have seen the trailer, it goes from the 2D SpongeBob to the CG 3D when they go into the real world. but the way they portrayed everything was very clever. What do you think of the movie, Matt?
I liked it. I did. I didn't expect a lot of stuff. Like, the trailers, all the trailers revolved around Burger Beard, played by Antonio Banderas, stealing the secret formula and rewriting the story with this book. And it was up to SpongeBob and the crew to get the formula back and rewrite the story, and they become kind of like the Avengers in a sense. I mean, let's face it, Mr. Krabs was totally Iron Man. But what I didn't expect was the whole, like, the first half of it was revolved around Plankton and SpongeBob being on the run because there's a Bikini Bottom apocalypse, and everybody thinks that they stole the secret formula because that's what Plankton's been trying to do for, like, ever. And nobody will believe them except for SpongeBob because they both saw it disappear, the formula disappear.
Okay, can we just talk about that dolphin in space for a minute?
Oh my god, that dolphin. That was probably, like, the part I hated the most. I hated that
Oh, really?
that dolphin. I hated it.
When I was watching, I was just like, what the heck is going on right now?
Oh my god.
It was so bizarre. Like, this is kind of spoiler alert, so if you haven't seen the movie, then I recommend watching it first. But they get in a time machine, Plankton and SpongeBob, and then they end up like 10,000 years into the future, and they're in space in this triangle with a talking dolphin called Bubbles, who's watching Jupiter and Saturn, which I must say both are gas planets. So when they collided, why did they explode like they were solid planets?
Why you gotta bring science into a children's movie?
I'm sorry, I'm thinking too much into this. They exploded. I'm trying to wrap my head around this.
It's gonna be okay, Matt. Yeah, like that, like, since you've already said that, like, spoiler alert, the way that they're able to breathe on land, because every SpongeBob episode, every SpongeBob movie we've seen where he has to go to the surface, he cannot breathe, none of them can breathe. But the way that they are able to breathe in this movie is that Bubbles eats them, well, not really eats them, he puts them in his mouth and shoots them out his blowhole. I'm saying to myself, what? This definitely didn't feel like a SpongeBob movie. Like, or it didn't feel like SpongeBob. It was very entertaining. I liked it, but it didn't feel like SpongeBob.
Oh, it's a little side note, man. Have you seen The Shining?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, when Plankton goes into SpongeBob brain, those two little combined little popsicles that says "Come."
Oh yeah.
That's a little Shining reference.
Yeah. I did see that.
Yeah.
But it wasn't what I was expecting. And then the climax was so short. Like, I felt like that was very rushed. I felt like they took all this time to tell the story of SpongeBob and Plankton, which was fine, the time travel, Bubbles, and then once they get to the surface and they get that page and they become the superheroes, I felt that was very rushed. And before you know it, they saved the day, they got the formula back, and it ends like an episode of SpongeBob. So it was just really weird. It was very entertaining, but it didn't feel like watching an episode of SpongeBob. I think it's worth the watch, but don't travel in the snow to go see it.
That's what I did.
Alright, the next, I know, Matt, you kind of gave us a quick review about this a couple episodes ago, but I finally got through the interview on Netflix. I was watching it on Netflix, and I really want to review this.
Sure.
Oh my god. First of all, it is very controversial. Like, I can see why Kim Jong-un wouldn't be upset. But at the same time, I thought it was very funny. It's everything I wanted it to be. The premise of the movie is pretty much what you saw from the trailers. Seth Rogen and James Franco work for a television crew that they interview people, and people make fun of them because they go for entertaining things, not real political stuff or whatever. Like, they had an interview with Eminem, spoiler alert, in the movie. They had an interview with Eminem where Eminem pretty much comes out of the closet. He says he's gay. And people don't take them seriously, so they heard that Kim Jong-un is a big fan of the show, so they score an interview with Kim Jong-un, and the CIA approaches them saying, we want you to kill Kim Jong-un. I hate his name, it's so difficult to... and so they go to North Korea, and James Franco's character spends a lot of time with Kim Jong-un, and, you know, they kind of become buddies. Like, they play basketball, they ride around in a tank together, they do drugs, they have intercourse with women. That's the polite way of saying it. But Kim Jong-un was, quote, honeypotting James Franco. For those of you who don't know what that means, honeypotting is... it's like when you appeal to somebody's nature, you befriend them, make them feel bad for you, and I can't think of a better way to explain it. But it's a crazy movie. Like, it's very, very controversial. Like, it's not for everybody. Definitely not for everybody. But if you feel like you can handle it, it's funny, and it's actually a really good watch. Matt, do you have anything to add?
They hate us because they ain't us.
They hate us because they ain't us.
That was funny. Wait, it was funny. It's a funny movie, but it's really controversial.
Oh my god. And the girl who played Sook wasn't too bad to look at either. Just saying. Thank God my girlfriend doesn't watch my podcast. Yeah. Good movie, entertaining, very controversial. Like, not for everybody. But how cute was that puppy doe?
You know.
Alright, moving on. Our next segment is called Topic Attack. This is how this works. Matt and I each have a topic for each other, but we don't know what each other is going to ask us. So in under 60 seconds, we have to give all our thoughts on the topic that we've been given. I cannot find my stopwatch. Oh, here it is. I leave it in the same place. Alright. So last time we flipped for who was going to go first, and I think that went rather well. So let me go into my change jar, pull out a quarter. And call it, Matt.
Heads.
Heads. Tails. I go first. Alright. My question for you, and the time will start once I am done reading the question. Do you think DC will ever live up to the reputation that Marvel has, or will DC forever be stuck in Marvel's shadow? Go.
I think it depends on how the Dawn of Justice movie will portray the Batman versus Superman whole fight together. Because I know they've been trying to do it for the past, I don't know how many years, but I think Man of Steel is kind of the Iron Man. Man of Steel is kind of the beginning of the whole cinematic universe of DC. So I know I say this a lot, but definitely time will tell. But it won't take that long. We'll just have to wait till next year to see how this franchise kind of starts out, because Batman vs. Superman will be kind of the Avengers of DC, and we'll definitely have to see how Ben Affleck plays as Batman. I have really high hopes for him because he's a great actor, so I'm really excited to see how it plays out, and I definitely do want to see a cinematic universe for DC.
48 seconds, not bad. I don't know. I feel like Marvel, they had their stuff down pat for the longest time. They know what they're doing. People have faith in them. Nobody ever doubts Marvel. With DC, they've had a bunch of screw-ups.
Well, keep in mind, when the first Hulk movie came out in 2003, that didn't do too well either, so...
Well, yeah, because some idiot decided that he wanted to have comic book style camera shots, which I appreciate what they tried to do, but it just didn't work. I don't know. Me personally, I like Batman, I like Superman, I love DC, but I feel like DC will forever be in Marvel's shadow. I mean, I feel like they're gonna fail? No. I feel like they're gonna do great things, especially with this new Batman versus Superman, and whatever movies they come out with along the way. But I don't think they'll ever live up to the reputation that Marvel has. That's just my opinion.
I think DC's it won't be as big as Marvel Cinematic Universe, but I think it's going to be more about personal preference. Like, what do you like better? Do you like DC or Marvel? I mean, obviously, you can like both, because I like both. And when I see Batman versus Superman, I'm probably going to like it, and I can say that while I say I love the Avengers and the whole Marvel Cinematic Universe. So, I mean, in everyone's fantasy, that they can both live in the same universe, but that's not going to happen.
All right, Matt, your turn.
Okay. Start then. Alright. Since 2015 is supposed to be a huge year for movies, and since it's February, the second month into the year, how many movies have you seen in theaters?
Since the beginning of the year?
Yeah.
I know I saw SpongeBob. I saw American Sniper. Oh my gosh, I can't even remember. I know those two. But, I don't think I've seen too many.
Alright. That's good. That was about, 25 or 30 seconds. Yeah, so I gave you kind of, just a simple, like how many movies have you seen, but, yeah, I mean, I know the year just started out, but it's going to be a huge year for movies, so I'll probably ask this question, like, later on in the year.
Oh my god, you totally threw a curveball at me. I totally expected you to be like, oh, what movies are you looking forward to? I'd be like, well, that's easy. Avengers, Jurassic World, Star Wars.
But yeah, I've seen 3 so far this year. I don't know if Ninth Museum will count. I saw it in 2015, but I know it came out, in December, but I guess I'll count it since I saw it this year. I've seen American Sniper, and I've seen the SpongeBob movie in all indoor variant in theaters, so, yeah.
Yeah, I can't remember anything past American Sniper and SpongeBob. Alright, we've come to that segment of the show for Theater Story Time. How this works is I work at a movie theater, for those of you who don't know, and you will see all sorts of characters and shenanigans going on at a theater, and I'm here to share those stories with you. I have a simple story today. Really? Oh god, I hope he's still there. Matt? You still there?
Yeah.
Somebody was calling me.
Oh, really?
Never fails. Somebody always calls one of us.
Wasn't it this time?
Alright, the story I have today is relatively it's a very simple story. Nothing really big happened today, or not today, this week. I just want to talk about annoying kids at the theater. So, one day this past week, I was working and I was standing up by box office. And this woman and her young child comes in, and we have a lot of snow outside, so it's wet outside. This little devil decided, you know how we have the stanchions where you have to go around to get to box office, the ropes?
Yes, please enter here.
Yeah. Well, this kid decided to put his wet foot, on each and every single one of the bases on the stanchions and make that squeaky sound like when Mr. Krabs gives SpongeBob those boots.
Do you like my new boots? Pretty cool, huh? Now I'm an official fry cook.
Or the pickles.
Yeah, just like that squeaky sound on every single one. And the mother didn't say anything. Nobody said anything. I was thinking that I was gonna punch this kid in the face. Oh my god! Why do kids have to be so annoying? Like, you're in a public place. Be on your best behavior.
I don't know. When I saw SpongeBob yesterday, as soon as the movie started and you saw Rural Island, the kid started crying, and I was like, oh my god, here we go. But luckily he stopped crying like after like 2 or 3 minutes. But I mean, I know the parents can't control kids crying and all, because, you know, obviously that's the kids crying, but, you know, at the same time, you're like, why do the kids have to cry?
Yeah, like, when it comes to, like, infants or kids who are crying, I understand they're upset. And if you take your child out of the theater, that's fine. But, like, those kids who know better, who are supposed to just sit there, watch their show, because this is like a treat to them. It's not every day they get popcorn and candy and soda and a movie all in the same sitting. So...
this is, well, not really on topic, but, there was the movie, I think it came out in like 2010 or 2009 called The Haunting in Connecticut.
Mm-hmm.
I saw that with, my sister and some of her friends, and somebody brought a baby to the showing, and it started crying.
Really?
And we're like, why would you bring a baby to a horror movie like that?
I see a lot of parents bring their kids. I saw a woman bring her son, who couldn't have been any older than 10, into American Sniper. I'm like, that movie's gonna give this kid nightmares.
I really hope there won't be a baby crying in Star Wars.
Oh my god, that baby's gonna get punched.
Well, that's a bit extreme.
Alright, we've reached that part of the show for box office. We have your box office totals for this past week. As I predicted, American Sniper stayed at number 1, earning $30.6 million this week, which brings its total to $247 million. Stealing the number 2 spot was Project Almanac. Seeing as how it was his first week, it only made 8.3 million, which is its gross total. Coming up on number 3 is Paddington. This week it made 8.3 million, which makes its total 50.3 million. Excuse me. Taking the number 4 spot is Black or White. Seeing as how it was his opening week, it made 6.2 million, which is its gross total. And the number 5 spot is occupied by The Boy Next Door, making 6.1 million, which makes its gross total 24.6 million. Matt, what do you think about those numbers?
Yeah, those are, I can definitely see those numbers. American Sniper is doing very well right now, and I'm really curious to see which SpongeBob's going to be number 1 or American Sniper, but I guess we'll have to wait to see for a couple more days.
I wasn't shocked at all that The Boy Next Door, because last week it was at number 2, and then went all the way down to number 5 within a week, because nobody wants to see that movie.
Yeah, actually, also, I don't know if Jupiter Ascending might be either number 2 or number 3, because I know SpongeBob made like $15 million Friday night, so...
Oh yeah, it was, like, SpongeBob made, like, a huge killing at the box office this weekend. Alright, DVD releases. This week we had 4 DVDs released. We had John Wick, starring Keanu Reeves, which I heard is very good. I want to see it. Dracula Untold, which is, pretty entertaining. I saw that. The Best of Me. I didn't see that. And Ouija. That one was okay. Have you seen any of those?
No, I have not. I heard Ouija's pretty scary. John Wick, I did hear was really good. I really want to see that movie. I'm a huge Keanu Reeves fan.
I was actually talking to one of my managers, and she said, you know, the basic story is that he goes and kills these guys because they killed his dog. And I said, I agree. If somebody came into my house and killed my cat, I wouldn't want to be you. But I want to bring this up real quick before we move on. One of the last shows, I think it was the show before the Super Bowl episode we did, we were talking about Indiana Jones reboot with Chris Pratt, correct?
Yes.
I was talking to my manager, who I don't know if she wants me to say her name, so I won't, because she actually watches my podcast. She actually brought up a very good point, because I said I don't think the world is ready for a rebooted Indiana Jones. I don't think that, you know, we can get away from the fact that, you know, Harrison Ford has been Indy, but she did say, you know, now that Disney has the rights to Indiana Jones, they have to make up for lost ground, because the last Indiana Jones, Crystal Skull, wasn't so great. So they have to, you know, I forget the wording she used, but basically they have to make up for that bad Indy. Which, when she said it, I'm like, that makes a lot of sense. So, shout out to my manager. You know who you are. All right, the next segment we have is a very new segment called Netflix Pick of the Week. Because we're your number one source for movies and more, we're going to give you more. So, this week's Netflix Pick of the Week is A Knight's Tale. I was really excited when I saw this on Netflix. I instantly added it to my list. But I think it's one of Heath Ledger's, one of his greatest films. Like, definitely Dark Knight was his greatest performance. But I also think that this is one of his greatest movies, because it's everything you want in a movie. It's got the comedy, it's got the drama, it's got the seriousness, it's got heart, and it's just all of these things just wrapped into one movie. And I watched it yesterday, and I thought, you know, it's been so long since I've seen this movie. Is it going to make me feel the same? Am I even going to bother watching the whole thing? And I watched it start to finish.
Yeah.
And,
it's a movie that leaves an impact on you. I mean, it's really sad that, you know, Heath Ledger's won't be is gone, and not doing any more movies with him. It would have been cool to still see him in new movies, and I'd say definitely see this movie if you get a chance on Netflix, because you know sometimes on Netflix some movies just disappear out of nowhere because of either licensing issues or whatnot. So since it's on Netflix, I say definitely give it a watch.
like, I had half a mind to start this podcast by saying, you know, I'm your host, Ulrich von Liechtenstein of Gunderland. But I decided against it. But yeah, it's a great movie. It's one of Heath Ledger's greatest. But the one thing I noticed is that if you watch that movie, he kind of reminds you of Chris Hemsworth.
Oh yeah, I can see it.
He's got because the entire time, all I could think of was Thor, because he's got blonde hair, and he kind of has the same voice as him almost, very deep and Australian, and well, it sounds Australian, I don't know, because in the movie he's from London, but like he really reminded me a lot of Chris Hemsworth. But also, Matt wanted me to mention about Netflix is that there's going to be a Zelda show coming on Netflix. Oh my god. Do they have the premise out, or what's going on with that?
No, they're just they're in development right now with Nintendo. That's all they posted.
That's gonna be so awesome.
Uh,
It's about damn time too.
yeah. Actually, I don't know if you mentioned this, but during the Sony hacked emails, Sony was planning with Nintendo making an animated Mario Brothers movie, which I think would be pretty cool.
Couldn't be any worse than that live action Mario Brothers. Alright, we've come to that part of the show for mailbag and tweets. I actually didn't check them before we started the show, so I don't know. No. So, again, we have none. Well, I shouldn't say that. I sent the link to the YouTube channel to one of my friends, and I'll actually put this up. He said something along the lines of, your views on Terminator are so out of line or so wrong that, once you actually watch Terminator and understand them, will be good, or something like that. But yeah, he's just joking around, so... Or he might not be, I don't know. But,
I'm excited for Terminator, I'll say that.
I'm not going to say anything because he said that. So, I'll just say what you always say, only time will tell.
I just want to see Arnold Schwarzenegger on the big screen again.
I'm biting my tongue on that one. Alright, we've reached that part of the show. Coming down to the close for announcements. I really don't have any announcements today, except The Walking Dead is back. I'm so excited. The Walking Dead is coming back tonight. Oh my god, I've waited so long. Matt, do you have anything going on?
I did a new game review. If you don't know, I do game reviews on my YouTube channel. I'm called Matt the Mediocre Gamer. So, definitely check it out if I get the chance.
Well, there you go. Alright, we've reached that part for shout out of the week. I have 2 shout outs for this week. There is Daz Black / Daz Games. Who that is, he's a guy named Darren. He's a famous UK Viner. I say he's a famous YouTuber. He's just really funny. And I think he deserves a shout out. Go check out his channels. The links will be down below. He does Let's Plays, and he puts Vines up on YouTube, and he also does like short films and stuff like that, and he's really great. He's hilarious. The next shout out I wanted to do was for a channel called MMPR Fan Film. And for those of you who don't know, MMPR is Mighty Morphin Power Rangers Fan Film that's on YouTube, and it's really more of an apology than a shout out, because I heard about MMPR last year, and they were in production last year. And what it is, it's a Power Rangers reimagined. It's a very darker, grittier type of Power Rangers that I think would be great for young adults and adults. It's not like the bright colored type Power Rangers that we're used to, but they had set a release date, and they never met that release date, and they kind of went silent for a while. And I said on their Twitter feed, I said, at MMPR Film, you guys are killing me, LOL, can you give me your best guess as to when episode 1 will be released? And they went silent for a very long time, to the point where I didn't think it was going to happen. They just the director just posted a video not too long ago about he was having family troubles. He had a very ill mother, and that's why they went so silent. He had to kind of back off of the project to take care of his mother and to take care of his sister, and I just felt really bad. So it's a shout out and an apology. You guys are great, and I cannot wait for MMPR. On that note, that's it for us, guys. thank you so much for watching. You can find Movie Madness on Facebook. You can find us on Twitter and Tumblr. You can also email us at moviemadnesspodcast1@gmail.com. Be sure to subscribe, comment, like, and share. I'm Matthew of Karsik from Of Karsik Films.
And I'm Mac Holmes from Thunder Portal.
And we will see you next week with a brand new Movie Madness. And cut.
The end.